There's a little Groucho Marx there for you. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Answer the Astrobag Lady with your host, Reverend Dr. L. Newman, and myself, Spirit Soaring. And today we're going to talk about brain farts.
And others. And others, yes. Brain farts in particular, because as I said before, and we'll say again, I'm redundant, I'm a Gemini. We're in a cycle right now where Mercury, who's all about transportation, communication, the dissemination of data, is making a trine to Neptune, and Neptune's retrograding, so it's getting even closer. So while Mercury's going this way, Neptune's coming closer. Mercury and Neptune is the aspect that makes you really good at Trivial Pursuit. I win every game. I will win sports questions I don't know. I win. When we went to Europe, we played it on the bus a lot. And after a while, the faculty advisor stopped doing it because I won every one. Because first he started with radio. Well, we didn't have a TV when I was a kid, so I knew about radio. And I've always been fascinated with radio, so I got the old classic shows. Neptune is the aspect that makes you... Okay, and there I am, haunting my own self again. Echo. It's an illusion. Time is an illusion. So all of us are brain farting. My favorite brain fart, although I do have many, and I call them blonde moments. It's nicer, you know. I'll run down to the basement to get something and forget why I ran down to the basement. Then I have to run back up to the spot where I was when I thought about something I needed from the basement and stand there for as long as it takes to remember why I went to the basement. Maybe write it on my hand because I'm going to forget it again when I get to the landing, right? Yeah, okay. And then I'll find 5 more projects and bring them back up and go, oh, the house is a mess. Brain farts. So you can win the Trivial Pursuit. For instance, and I hang on to these little, because I'm natally, Mercury, Neptune, I'll hang on to these little snippets of information that are absolutely useless, and then I have to update them. Because, you know, if you're going to brag, you got to document. For instance, my personal favorite. What fast food chain in the state of Michigan has the highest amount of rat feces? Never mind, Church's Chicken. Now, I have to check them every year in the stats with the health department to make sure they're keeping up the turd count. Because that's important. If you set the bar that low, you might as well keep it there. Because I'm never going to trust you again with chicken. Never. At the same time, you can remember these little arcane bits of knowledge and forget your best friend's birthday, your mother's phone number, your zip code, or just what you're doing at the moment. People who, when you put the coffee pot in the refrigerator and go to work, sit your favorite coffee mug on top of the car and drive off to work. Mercury, Neptune. Take your briefcase, forget your paperwork. Mercury, Neptune. Trust me, nobody believes the dog ate your homework, and the dog's not even falling for that anymore. So there has to be this visceral honesty. What was that ding? Oh, you just went to Facebook. Okay. I'm starting to figure these things out. You want to tell these?
I'm getting us out there and around.
I'm so proud of you. You want to tell people how they can find us?
We are on currently Facebook on the Reverend Dr. L. Newman's Facebook page. My page, Spirit Soaring's Take a Walk With Me. We're also later to be broadcast on Anchor FM, Spotify, Breaker FM,
Google something, Apple
Google
something.
Podcast. We're not on iTunes Radio anymore. We're on Apple Podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. Because there's some differences there. Mm-hmm. You can still find the Apple Podcast on iTunes Radio, but you have to dig for them. But the Apple Podcast is a separate app altogether. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's like the Google Podcast, which they're both really easy to use. I'm kind of liking them.
Well, and Anchor FM is such a giant site that it just plugs you into many other places.
Yeah, Anchor plugs us into like 22 different sites depending on content.
Nice.
You'll see us next day on Google Podcast and Google Vlog because they have a 24-hour review period.
Very good.
They want to make sure we're not breaking Google standards, if you understand what I'm saying.
Oh, so no more standing buck naked on my porch and mooning the neighbors and calling it Google Earth?
That's entirely different.
I just wanted to stay home, you know?
That's on you.
Why else do you moon people? Stay away.
Stay away. Stay away.
Stay away. Don't even think about not staying away. Venus, as you know, is the goddess of love and beauty. And on the 22nd, she enters Virgo. Now that's a bit of a mixed message. I'm pretty sure
there we go again.
Best friends. La, 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 la. I do believe that my sister Heather Coffey, who's going to be on this show pretty soon because I will stalk her, has her Venus in Virgo. If you have Venus in Virgo, when Venus in Virgo,
we actually have a lineup of people that are waiting to come be on the show.
Well, kick them in the butt.
Well, people were waiting for us to get settled in the new
settled.
We're settled. Yeah. We're ready.
As we're gonna be.
But Heather Powers wants to be on the show. She's a metaphysician out of, I think, Ohio or
Indiana, something like that. Yeah,
in that region.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to do a live segment with Earl. Once we get him back on his feet, we're going to introduce Iowa Pagan Radio to the world.
Sweet.
And then he's going to broadcast us to the world. So even sweeter.
That's more than a twofer.
Yeah.
That's a lot more than a twofer. I like that. That's brilliant.
So, yeah, we've got people lined up. We've got
Shelley Bradley, who was on CBS Radio with me.
Yeah. Wants to have a sit down with us.
Yeah. It's like having coffee with a friend.
Yeah. And then we've got Grandmother Connie and the Two-Spirit.
How do you say her last name? I must learn that before she comes on the air, and I screw it up.
I am not fluent in that native tongue, so I don't want to butcher it.
We'll just forget her last name.
She's Grandmother Connie.
Okay, all right. I can live with it. Oh, my God. Google says, stop eating peanut butter. You've been blinded by its 5 side effects. I don't want to know. Oh, no. Peanut butter is often my only protein source of the day.
Well, we need to go over the recipe for making your own. That way we can make it healthy.
Oh, I do.
Make your own good.
I do. I make almond butter, peanut butter, butter.
I like peanut butter, and I've gone over the years back and forth on why I like peanut butter. And if it's homemade or good organic peanut butter, I know why I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I can put peanut butter on a couple crackers and go for a couple more hours.
Have a meal. The only stuff I won't eat is the one you get in the health food store that has like an oil slick on top and looks like McDonald's coffee.
Stir first.
Just stir it in. No. Walk to can, drop in, say thank you, no. Or better yet, don't buy it.
They've gotten a lot better with organic peanut butters, but still making your own at home is so much better. And we found out that Beans isn't allergic to peanut butter, so yay!
Right.
And they like it. Goodness.
So 8:37 p.m. on the 22nd, we have the full moon in Capricorn. So Venus in Virgo, trining Pluto in Capricorn, Saturn in Capricorn. Well, Saturn moon, because the moon is in Capricorn, which is actually her detriment. when a planet is put in the sign that opposed to the sign it rules, it's in its detriment. It's like living with your in-laws and hoping to God that either they'll die and give you the house or you get enough money to move. You know, life is about being a body of motion. It's about looking at life in the terms of worst case scenario, which I do often with my clients, and accepting that it's already happened. You may not have processed it, but the worst has visited you and it didn't kill you. Take a pulse. You're fine. And Pluto's a cosmic roto-rooter, so it has everything to do with deep subliminal emotional responses, which is why those who would prevaricate are being caught in that lately. Yes. Politicians, actors, actresses, whatever. And there's a different sense of trust between people now, because I've always been lie to me once. That's the last time. Don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Are you quite all right? Camera zoom. Okay.
I'm making faces for the crowd.
Oh, that's good. Venus in Virgo is all about what RuPaul says. If you don't love somebody else, how the heck you gonna love yourself? Because Venus in Virgo, Yeah, Venus in Virgo says, I'm not perfect yet. And there's the complete denial of the fact that you're born perfect.
Okay, not to be nihilistic or anything. Here's the thing about that whole statement.
Yeah.
You have to love yourself before you can love other people, but you don't have to love yourself perfectly.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't have to wait until you're in perfect love with yourself to find love that's out there waiting for you. Okay. Because if you wait until you're perfect in your love for yourself, well, let's just say I've got beachfront property in Missoula, Michigan.
Such a deal.
That I'll sell you cheap.
Only after the perk test. I've seen a septic system come up in a lake. No. It fizzled. It bubbled. It was Tidy Bowl. It was like a Tidy Bowl lake. I thought, I'm glad you're selling the property because I'm not coming back. Venus and Virgo will not allow themselves to be loved because they aren't ready to love themselves yet, because once again, like I said, they're not perfect. Now, if you look perfect up in the dictionary, I dare you, you'll have a moment. Got it? Good. Perfect is to be complete. God made you, your great creator spirit made you as complete as you're ever going to be. So that's perfect. You're perfect. You have form, you're perfect. You don't have form, you're even more perfect.
We are all perfectly exquisite in our own eccentricities and inefficiencies.
And in our varying amounts of psychoses, neuroses, and hitches and glitches, and you get along. It's what makes us human. That's why the brain farts, everybody has them. I'm not even sure. I know it's Mercury, Neptune primarily. Some of us do it more than others. As a rule, it's because you're trying to do too much at one time. And you'll stop in the middle of one job to run to another job and forget the first job.
Well, the Eastern cultures, in as simple a form as they could, kind of gave sense to that. They took the white field, okay, which is universal love, universal life, exquisite, divine presence, all of that good stuff, and they laid a black field over it.
Okay.
And they made parts of the white field visible and parts of the black field visible to give you the yin yang. Okay. And the black parts are all of the bad things, death and strife and struggle, all of the things that actually make life worth living.
And they're not bad.
They're not bad.
They're sometimes unpleasant, but they're not bad. And I tell you, if something comes too easily to me, I don't trust. If it's a challenge and a semi-struggle, and I really have to put my back into it, I appreciate that puppy when it's done. I can say, look what I did. Nobody helped me. I've been doing handyman things. It scares me. I built my new dining room chairs. Back when I was gone in February, the cat took out his frustrations on my dining room furniture and shredded it. And so I'm sitting on the floor with a straight razor trying to shave off all the little bubbles. Is not going to happen. So I went and got chairs. They've been sitting in the patio for probably a month. And I finally dragged them in, built them. I'm sitting on one of them today. I feel marvelous. I cleaned out the corner of the garage. Venus in Virgo. Mind you, my nadir, my fourth house cusp is Virgo. So I'm going to be a blur for the next 6 weeks. Just because it's round to it time for me. Round to it. We still have, a semi-conjunction of Mars and Venus. So there'll be times when I'm more prone to sitting right, but then I sit right. That's how I got my predictions done early and on time. And so happy. But I've been just doing all kinds of. I unpacked the paint gun tomorrow. I unpacked the pressure washer and prayed that I don't kill a squirrel or do I Love Lucy on the front lawn with that darn thing because it should be amusing. Normally I get up there with a bucket and a sponge. It's like, this is kind of dumb, isn't it? Actually,
pressure washer would be a whole lot easier.
Yeah, and it wasn't that expensive. Amazon, of course, because if Amazon doesn't have it, it's not worth having.
Miss Castellano and Sweetie in one of the chat rooms here, and Sweetie has actually asked a question.
Okay.
What kind of things will come up with this coming full moon?
Oh, everything from I'm not your mother to trust issues. Remember, the moon is in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn, which is in Aquarius, which is just the other side of Pluto in Capricorn, 1 degree out of order, but close enough that they're sharing the same house. So it's a lot of, what am I actually really responsible for? There's not a Capricorn in this world, and Heather can tell you, and I can tell you, and Linda can tell you, there's not a Capricorn in this world that hasn't spent at least the first 28 years of their life trying to raise their parents. Now, let me tell you, you've set the bar too high. And someday, 28, 35, 42, you'll give up on that because you'll say, this is really dumb. Now, I'm a Moon Saturn baby. Both of my girls are Moon Saturn babies. And they worry about me to the point that I don't tell them what's going on. Because you know what? Worry's like a rocking chair. You move a lot and get nowhere. And if I'm not feeling well, you're going to tell people. They're going to worry about me. Oh, great. That just made it worse. Okay? So a lot of it has to do with personal responsibility. Many of us will pick up chores and tasks and duties because it has to be done. Mostly earth signs or heavy earth in your chart. And this is definitely a heavy earth transit because it's Uranus in Taurus, it's Pluto in Capricorn, and Venus in Virgo. So also an awareness, or all of a sudden a sense of foods and or relationships have become toxic. Pluto has you attracted to everything that's just no darn good for you. That's what he's about. You did this before and it was really a mess, so let's take you there again and see if you can't make it a hot mess. Why be a mess if you could be a messy, hot mess? So that's Venus. So there's a sense of maybe keeping a food journal, definitely keeping track of how you're sleeping, of how you feel after you meet certain people. You know, if you meet people and you just need a nap or 2 aspirin or a coma, that tells you they're no good for you. And you can love them, and you can love them even more by not being around them. I wouldn't go past an email with some of the people I know. I wouldn't. And that's because I could tell them what I mean from the bottom of my heart. But there's no debate because it's not debate. And it's not my choice to make. That's
We've
why
had experience with toxic people coming in. And,
oh, God. Sometimes family.
And you have to take a nap just to
get over it.
Yeah, just to make up for what's been taken away. Mm-hmm. We strive very hard to lead by example. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I drink Mountain Dew. That's a bad example, right?
I tip my espresso to you. Cheers.
I also drink dandelion tea and everyday detox and black tea and green tea and water, cranberry juice. And
I miss water. I can't drink water.
We got a new filter and I love it.
No, it's the water itself because of my ulcer.
Yeah, I had that problem.
Doesn't tolerate it.
I had that problem way back when. Luckily, that's cleared up. But yeah, we got a zero filter. And the water tastes like I remember water tasting when I was a kid.
We actually have pretty good water in Royal Oak. I mean, we're not Flint, you know. We have pretty good water. Lisa's got a filter right on her tap. I just can't have water. But I get to eat ice. Ice. Me loves eating ice. It's the only thing I actually like eating that has no calories. Go figure. That and shrooms, but that's another story.
We altered our diet almost a decade ago, Sings and I.
Beautiful.
Because she no longer had a gallbladder and all of the processed foods
not good.
Were just tearing her up. They weren't good for her at all. Miss Casey Worsley said hi. She is one of Sweetie's year 9 students.
Very good.
But yeah, the dietary changes Casey. The dietary changes we made, the kidney problems that Sings was having cleared up.
Beautiful.
The stomach problems that she was having cleared up. I mean, she was able to.
That's great.
To find foods that went in and didn't immediately rebel.
Nothing worse.
Oh yeah. Everybody watches the food commercials and goes through the drive-through and picks up the food and eats it. Oh yeah, yeah. A trip through the drive-through is an immediate trip to the bathroom for anybody that doesn't have a gallbladder.
True.
And learning how to counter that. Like, we're on the road a lot. How do you counter not being able to eat fast food when you're on the road a lot? Well, we learned to pack stuff that we could.
Peanut butter. Hello.
Hey, I'll stop at a grill. I'll stop at a roadside grill and cook.
Sure.
Or pull out the LP stove and make dinner. Mm-hmm. Because it's just safer for the tummy. And you know, we're trying to live as long as we can, as healthily as we can. So changing what we ate, changing what we drank, changing the way we went about things. Yeah, I drink Mountain Dew, but I drink a portion of the Mountain Dew I drank when I met Sweetie.
Mm-hmm. Well, the wise man said everything in moderation, even moderation.
Yeah. When I met her,
if your life is that disciplined, there's no joy left in it. Wow. Casey says, so agree with food and stomach issues. I'm a gal with no gallbladder. Singing Spirit of Help Me. Well, of course they have. Casey, when it says high, spirit soaring, that's me. I don't know why. It just is. Although he's on my Facebook page, so he can be pranking people on my Facebook page or friending lonely men who aren't really in the service. I've never quite figured that one out. Because, you know, it's almost like the world has put this kick me sign on me that says, and if you're a veteran, I will co-sign for your car. And so I don't want to sound like an effete snob. But now, unless you're a friend of mine, I'm not going to accept your friendship on Facebook. It's not.
Oh yeah, we don't get on the road without guacamole anymore.
Oh, there you go.
I don't eat it, but Sweetie can survive for days on a tub of guacamole.
I can do that with hummus. Guacamole, the color's off-putting for me. It's like, no, I've seen that before. It was never pleasant. No, but that's okay. That's okay. You guys eat a lot of beans.
A lot of beans, yeah.
There's your flatulence factor.
Well, look, it's like the doctor said, and I've been reading reports about flatulence since I was a kid because I found it amusing.
It's a leveling factor. Everybody does it. Everybody. No one's immune.
If you're not having gas of some form,
something's wrong.
Something is wrong.
Yeah.
If you're having gas that's killing everybody in the room with you, likewise, something is wrong.
Blame the dog. Buffy, stop that. You know, it's all good.
Go see your local naturopath and talk to him about what's going on. And that's my best advice there. But yeah,
Beano works. Beano works. As a rule,
Beano actually stops a natural process. I don't know how much
drugs do. I mean, I was reading beyond this one article. I was reading another one about what to do if you're incontinent, and it said take anti-diarrheals. Do I have to go online to be told take something's going to cork you up? I mean, it's like my $400,000 worth of doctors. I knew this already. Don't tell me I haven't.
If you're incontinent. And here's advice from an herbalist that I met 30 years ago.
Take your laptop in the bathroom. You can keep working.
If you're incontinent, eat oatmeal.
Okay.
It will scrub your system.
Like shaker furniture. My friend made bad banana bran bread, and it it went through me like I ate a Shaker-Hall tree. It was like, oh, God.
If you're incontinent, odds are there's something causing the incontinence.
Mm-hmm.
If you scrub your system with one of those natural cleansers, i.e. a big bowl of oatmeal, or here's one for you vegetable lovers, a big bowl of cauliflower.
Oh,
Raw,
that'll make you fart.
Not cooked.
That'll make you fart.
Yeah, but it'll also scrub you out.
Have you had, they're making cauliflower pizza.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, cauliflower crust does not taste like pizza. It tastes like cauliflower.
We've actually found one that they like.
Not in Michigan.
That tastes like the pizza dough she's used to. Mm-hmm. And not every time we have pizza does she have a cauliflower crust pizza, but about 1 in 3 is a cauliflower crust.
No. Yeah, roasted cauliflower, Casey. Absolutely. No. Pizza should not taste like cauliflower, and cauliflower should not taste like pizza.
Sweetie said kale is the best scrubber ever.
There you go. I could have Bonnie make some bread because that's, it was like a spring ritual. My grandma used to make this coleslaw every spring that gave the whole family the runs. It was like, and now you're ready for a new season. Well, yep. But we only got one bathroom,
She did it intentionally.
4 of us, 1 bathroom. I don't need this. I really don't need this.
I have, over the years, had the realization that all of the kitchen witches in my life have done the same thing annually every year. They make the annual clean out meal about the same time they start spring cleaning.
Or perhaps you should say anally. The annual anal, okay?
Yeah.
Just cause.
But the idea was to get any of the bad bacteria from the winter months out of the system, and
gotcha.
to start you off with a nice, freshly reset system,
A friendly boost to your digestive system.
Yeah, and if they were good grandmothers, they probably gave you goat's milk or something like that afterwards to balance out your probiotic digestive system.
We didn't have any goats. We're a goat short.
Either. We were always fed yogurt after
the
annual cleanse.
Yeah, because you need the healthy bacteria. Like when you're on antibiotics, you need yogurt.
And
it's going to kill all the bacteria.
Thanksgiving is a cleanse also, because the spices we use at Thanksgiving are those spices that are designed to give the blood system its annual cleanse.
Thanksgiving for us is a food coma. It's served in 5 different entrees, as it were, and you're in a coma. Then you wake up, have some more sweet potatoes, go back to sleep. Wake up, have some more turkey, go right back to sleep. Wake up, eat my stuffing, which is the best stuffing in the whole wide world. And then eventually roll off the couch and have some pumpkin pie.
So when you mix nutmeg and allspice together,
yeah,
what you have effectively done is set up a rudimentary cleanse for your pulmonary system.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on the level of spice you use, you might also just decided to empty everything in your stomach and intestines.
Expeditious.
If you add elderberry and cinnamon to this mix, you have reset your women's clock.
That's good.
In some cases.
Better than having it not set at all, which could be concerning. Just concerning.
Just don't add the cinnamon, allspice, nutmeg, and elderberry to your coffee, because then you're just asking to get pregnant.
I think I'm safe. I've been alone since 2003. I think I'm safe.
Look.
Better
I
off
went
alone.
to Starbucks and was looking across the menu, and they actually had a coffee on the menu that my grandmother would have sworn they were trying to make the population pregnant with.
There you go. There you go. Because there's not enough original sinners originally sinning. By the way,
Right.
AIM is not an organization, as its name implies. It's a movement. Within that movement, organizations will come and go. Don't confuse any particular individual or individuals who march under its banner as a leader, however worthy or unworthy they may be. AIM is the people. AIM will be there when every one of us living today is gone. AIM will raise new leaders in every generation. Crazy Horse belonged to AIM. Sitting Bull belonged to AIM. They belong to us still, and we belong to them. There are no followers in AIM. We are all leaders. We're each an army of one, working for the survival of our people, peaceful evolution, and taking care of our Earth. Blessed Mother Earth. This isn't rhetoric. This is commitment. This is who we are. In the spirit of Crazy Horse, Leonard Peltier. Leonard Peltier is a name that should never be forgotten. A man who should be revered as the incredible wisdom keeper that he is. He is in prison for basically being a native. I won't get into all the long version of this story. So he went from Pine Ridge to Florida. He is now at Coleman, Florida.
The families for the witnesses against Uncle Leonard came anonymously well off.
Amaze.
After they became witnesses, and one of the witnesses is even a family member.
Lovely. So you can write to, let me finish. You can write to Mr. Peltier at 89637-132, USP Coleman, P.O. Box 1033, Coleman, Florida, 33521. Read his poetry, read his books, see his artwork. Let him know you care. Thank you. Sorry. I'm done. Okay. The end.
The end.
As Maisie would say, the end.
Leonard was wrong. And there are others that were jailed around the same time that have been wronged. And we need to evaluate some of those systems.
Absolutely.
Some of the things that have been brushed aside and set aside because they don't concern us.
Yep.
Because the longer we let it not concern us, the longer injustice is done.
And when we are silent, when we know something's wrong, we're just as wrong as the person doing the wrong. That silence is taken as tacit acknowledgement that this is business as usual. Yeah. It's not. This is business as should never be done. The man should be home to see his grandchildren. That's all he's asked for. They actually, for his brethren who were also there with him, they've denied them compassionate leave. They couldn't come back in long enough to bury their mother. Now, hello, Leavenworth gives you that, and they're not exactly fluffy for
him. Two of the original Black Panther leaders are still in jail also.
Well, there you go.
Also on fabricated information.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a thing of that era that needs to be done away with.
Ooh, I got something. You're going to be jealous. You ready to be jealous?
Sure.
You're going to be jealous. If I can find the right button, you're going to be jealous.
Ooh, as long as I don't light the wrong end of this, I'll be okay.
Oh, my God. The rules of smoking. Don't light the filter end.
Right.
Don't smoke the hot end. Don't mooch cigarettes. Always give cigarettes to a mooch. And the most important one of all, never throw a cigarette butt in the toilet. They can bounce. And they do. Okay, I think. Hello. Boom.
We went to all the college when we were young. At that time, children could not dance.
Floyd Westervelt.
Only people over 50 years of age could dance. Most people do not know this, that the government forbid children to dance Indian. And that was so they could wipe out the culture and the young people. And then finally, the new generation would never know what happened,
Don't you even know how to be a real Indian? I guess not. Well, shit, no wonder. Jeez. I guess I'll have to teach you then, eh?
You know what that means? That means the Superman CD is here.
And mine's on the way.
Oh, yes, yours on the way. Yours is on the way.
I've been in a conversation in one of the chat groups on Facebook, and it's a chat group that started out to help people learn our native tongues.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been taken over by that generation that doesn't want to share.
Aww.
And I've been in a conversation with a group of elders in that group. Part of what's wrong right now in the world at large is we're not sharing. Okay, we were asked to share. We were taught to share. We were told to share.
Yeah.
If we don't share the knowledge, if we don't share the wisdom,
it dies.
It dies. But you shouldn't share it with people that aren't full blood. Nobody's full blood anymore, brother.
No,
Nobody's
we're all
full
mutts.
blood anymore, sister.
We're all mutts.
And if you remember the teachings of our grandfathers, our grandmothers, we're all related. We're all one family.
Yeah.
Okay. Mantaka Waya San means all my relations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it also means we're all related.
And so, we're all equally important.
Yeah.
That's the promise of the sacred hoop. That's why sometimes the best thing you can do for someone is just dummy up and listen. Just listen. There's so many people who have a voice and they don't get listened to. They get talked at. They get ignored. I had a boss. Oh, we called her misinformation. Actually, we called her Astroglide because her head was so far up in that shady place. You had to dab some behind her ears and pull her out like
she was a hat sitter, huh?
She's a hat sitter. And you had to talk real fast because, short attention span. And then, boop, her head would go right back up in that shady place again.
Mm-hmm.
It was dazzling. I've never seen anything like it. She's the one that every time she opened her mouth, she lied. But that's pretty much it. The precedent set at that time at CBS Radio. But why? Because, speaking of flatulence, I had a pastor once when I was at the First Reformed Spiritualist Church. Sounds like Hasidic spiritualism. It's the church that was started by my teacher, Reverend Betty Ruth Tibbetts. And they squoze her out. She was good with it. I worked it through. And Kenny took over. Kenny was a piece of work. And Kenny was also, he played politics, which is why I don't have a pulpit in any church. I don't want my own, and so he would play people against each other. And I'd done a lot of great things for the church from a loving place. I have no problems with that. But I did have to leave. But at one point, he called a meeting, and there were 3 of us on the board and himself. And every time someone asked him a question that he wasn't prepared to answer, or he wasn't good enough in his lie yet, he would let out this thunderous fart. Well, there's your answer. And like I said, when I was a kid, my mother, well-intentioned, sent me to church just to get rid of me. It was her church, but she sent me there because, get rid of this kid. And I started with Sunday school, which was just too dull and boring and full of children. And I was never a child, so don't insult my intelligence. Don't send me this lay teacher that's going to Bible thump because I'll get in a fight with them and then I'll be thrown out. So finally, I went upstairs to the big people's congregation. And it's an old school church. It's got the big wooden pews, right? And the reason I went up there was not so much that I couldn't stand the Sunday school, although I couldn't stand the Sunday school. It was because they had this Old Testament, old world, probably a drunk minister. He had a nose looked like a strawberry. And he would preachify, and he would thump on the pulpit, and he would smack the Bible with his hand. I thought, Bible spanking, I've never heard of that before. And he would get all red in the face, and the veins would stand out on his forehead, and his eyes would dilate to pinheads, and he'd be sweating like a pig. And I'd think, he's going to die. And so I'd be on the edge of my seat, just on the edge of my seat. Like, well, let it be today, God. We all have to die. Let it do it. I want to see this. And So I'm sitting there and it's, oh, she's such a brilliant child. No. And so he had made some tremendously dramatic point only to himself. And he stopped for applause, like Forever Elvis at the chapel in Las Vegas, you know, hunk of burning love. So he did, and there was no applause. There was like silence. It was like bad stand up. And from the very back of the church, someone who obviously had sausage for breakfast let loose with a bazoozle. It was a one of those echoed around the church. And I, of course, got hysterical. I laughed. I cried. I wet my pants. They asked me to leave. I never went back. I just went to the park on Sundays and let her think I went to church because the park is my church anyway. But, you know, farting is such a lovely thing because it's universal. We do. And so as part of my homework for tonight, I have fart facts. Are you ready for fart facts? I do my homework. I do. Let's see. Going to my notes. I'm done with that. Sit this over here. How am I working? Trying to speak common sense to a fool is like trying to be heard as a fart in a tornado. However, we human beings fart 20 times a day. Now, if you live to be 70, and you're supposed to make it 74, but if you live to be 70, that means you will have farted 517,387,500 farts. That's a lot of, and that's minimum. That's a lot of flatulence in one small lifetime, don't you think? But here's the tea about farts. 9 surprising facts. Are they surprising? Okay, you produce 500 to 1,500 milliliters of gas per day and expel it in 10 to 20 farts. We're blaming cows for this. We're blaming cows for the ozone layer. It's us, okay? It's us. It might be more than you expect, but it's measured in controlled studies. I would not want to go to a study where they're studying farts, okay? That's one of those, no, I don't want to be a lab rat. So a gastroenterologist Mayo Clinic studies gut microbes. There's a living. Bacteria needed to consume sulfur to produce sulfurous gases, and though not all foods or complex carbs contain sulfur, many do. So you'll find that some of them are beans, onions, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, and dairy. Gum and soda can make you fart more. Well, that just makes sense, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Especially when I do my Red Bull through a straw. My daughter would just down a can. And then it's a talent which I taught her. She could burp the alphabet. I actually got her up to the Star Spangled Banner at one point, but that's another story. There are a lot of carbohydrates we consume, mainly present in vegetables, grains, and fruits, that our bodies don't have the enzymes necessary to digest. That's what happens even when I have booze, because I don't have that enzyme that breaks down booze. And I, like many Native Americans, I get red triangles on my face. Looks like war paint. Blotches. No. Yeah, it ain't pretty. So these end up enlarging. Right, yeah. Where microbes chew them apart and use them for energy through the process of fermentation. As a byproduct, they produce gas, and so do you. A huge variety of foods contain these complex carbs that we can't fully digest. Beans, veggies, and anything with whole grains. Oh, God, that healthy bread that nearly killed me. For most people, this leads to somewhere between 500 to 1,500 milliliters daily, the equivalent of a half a 2-liter bottle of soda every single day. Now you know where your Mountain Dew is going. One of the reasons we produce gas is that nearly all of it is odorless. Hydrogen, carbon, and methane make up as much as 99% of gas produced in our large intestines. That's supplemented by the air you swallow. And all these gases are odorless, which is why most of the time farts don't actually smell at all. That I didn't know. See, we're here for your education. The potent
I don't need any sulfur. So.
Yeah. The potent stake research is found is largely due to the 1% or so of carbs of compounds with sulfur in them, such as hydrogen sulfide. The sort of research itself is pretty amazing. One experiment involved 2 people judging the odor of farts of 26 participants who'd been fed pinto beans and then collected the aid with a gas-tight Mylar pantaloons. I don't want to know what kind of pants you have to hold your farts in. Or there's got to be a microphone down there. Apart from the gases produced by bacteria, a significant portion of your flatulence is simply made of inadvertently swallowed air. It doesn't smell, it's nitrogen and oxygen, but it sounds and feels the same coming out. Well, that's good to know. And maybe one more. Here we go. Some of this swallowing goes on when you're asleep, but it can be increased by drinking carbonated beverages. After all, you're ingesting the carbonation, even by chewing gum. So there you go. Farting is a result of a healthy, complex ecosystem in your intestines, or as my neighbor would say, intestines. She also says gooms. Gooms. I'm thinking, what's it? Oh, gums. Okay. All right. It's a local thing. It's a regional thing. So, physical farts, brain farts. Back when I did lots of TV, I was on Channel 2, which is now Fox. Boy, I knew when to leave. And Mondays, I did like a people feature, astrology, blah, blah, blah. Mondays, they would bring in a chef, and the chef would make food. And one gentleman had been rather portly. And he had bariatric surgery, which worked very well. So he went from like 400 pounds to 250, which is that's 2 people, you know. And of course, Al just loved being there for free food Mondays. All media people do. And evidently he had one too many sausages. And so as he's introducing this chef who's, you know, pretending to cook this all up and it's been done before, what do you think of the food, Al? Okay. Room for more.
Compliments to the chef.
does connect us. Now, my mother had a particular gift, but she also had colitis and ileitis. Those, my dearest, are control freak diseases. Don't you know? I mean, it has a physical manifestation, but it starts with wanting to control the situation. So people with super constipation or people with Montezuma's revenge, some things you can't control. Or as my friend used to say, you gotta let it out. Mom, on the other hand, see, I don't know what the etiquette was when you were growing up. But in my family, remember, German stuffy. That was my mother, German stuffy. If you must break wind, as she called it, you had to go in the bathroom and run water. So it means every time somebody got from the table, they're farting in the bathroom. You know, it's like, oh, I'm so glad my ex-husband used to fart up and down the driveway getting a cigarette because the house would blow up. But Mom, because she had this diverticulous ileitis, colitis, whatever it was, the woman sounded like a tuba solo in the Star Spangled Banner. She would, the bass, it was wonderful, you know. So you know, we grew up kind of denying even that people farted because you didn't in front of other people. Now, I don't know, my neighbors tend to scratch their butts and like their farts. It's probably brain damage, I think. Some things I don't want to know.
On doing that one time, and we decided we weren't going to do that anymore. No, the guy had, instead of, you know, most people wipe their farts through their clothes.
Took his clothes
he had
off.
decided to doff his clothes and light his fart, and
Brilliant.
he stuck butanol injected flame into his butt. And they couldn't save him. So, like, not going to do that anymore.
My biggest prayer is don't let me die doing something stupid. I don't want to be a Darwin Award
Did
next
you
week.
read the one about the guy that died while lighting a firecracker stuck up his butt?
See, that, in my mind, judge me later, falls into the category of thin the herd.
He didn't have a bottle.
Some people should not reproduce. Okay? It's just not in the natural order of things. And that's when Darwin jumps in and does a fine job. You know, it just is.
He didn't have a bottle, and he thought that he could be a human bottle rocket.
Well, I'm sure he had a short solo flight.
Right.
Can you imagine a dumber way to die?
I've seen some dumber ways to die, but that one was pretty high.
That's pretty, yeah. That's That's a T-shirt. I see a T-shirt in that. I definitely do. Prone to like my fart say that.
Katie Bug got into those Vine things on the internet a few years back.
Mm-hmm.
And from that, they started watching Ridiculousness. And from that, I got hooked on a link called World's Greatest Fails. And people do some amazingly stupid stuff.
Oh, there's no limit. There's no limit. There's no limit. None.
I mean, I grew up with, hey, man, watch this. Or, hey, man, hold my beer.
Hold my beer. Yeah. Hold my beer. That's where it starts.
Hey, man, hold this shot glass. I got to do this right now. But that one never ended well. They always came back for the shot glass was empty.
Oh, offline. Yeah. Still, it's good to celebrate our bodies and to accept the fact that there's things they're going to do probably when you don't want them to. I remember the first time I took a friend of mine to, I forget the name of the restaurant. We were driving back from Traverse City, which is like 2.5 hours. So it was like food. You know, you get that point where I can't eat another burger from a gas station. So I went in and I ordered this thing called an Awesome Blossom. It's beautiful. It's a great big, I think a Bermuda onion that's breaded and greasy and French fried. And they give you sauces to dip it in. And it's deadly. I mean, onions alone are, yeah. And this was like, tastes like more. You know, food tastes like more. Just keep eating. We made it back to my office in Birmingham, and he excused himself. And you could hear trumpets playing in the bathroom. I'm waiting. Gabriel's blowing his horn. Something's going on here. And he came out and he said, that was quite sonorous. And I thought, what a dumb thing. The only dumber thing was on a first date, a guy took me out for ribs. That's not exactly what you don't want ribs in your teeth on your first date. But yeah, flatulence is, although I'm starting from today forward, I apologize to cows because we've been blaming the ozone layer on them, knowing that people are farting around 20 times a day has got to be adding to that toxicity, don't you think?
Well, Nietzsche said something about overpopulations.
Which was?
A long time ago. I don't remember. I'll look it up. I'll get back to you.
All righty. Brain fart. See, brain farts are natural and normal. And it doesn't matter if you're a genius. Oh, ADHD, we got to get there. Doesn't matter if you're a genius or not. They will occur to you. So you may as well address them with humor. I've done weddings where I forgot the bride's name. And I'd say, lovely goddess. You know, there you go. Actually, I had a 12-year-old write vows which she had me use for her wedding like 20 years later. And it was, some of it, because I don't remember it all verbatim, was, today I choose you to be my best friend and my partner for life, husband, wife / together we will dream, break bread, and lie down. We may stumble, but we will restore each other because our goal is to comfort each other and our fellow humankind. I will love you and honor you, respect you, and do my best to deserve you for all the days of my life, for you are my heart's greatest gift. She was 12 when she wrote that, and she said, I'm not getting married till I find a man for whom I feel all that. And she found him, and they're together now, which is wonderful. Wonderful. But I have forgotten important things. Although the priest at my father's funeral kept forgetting his name. His name was Paul. It's not a hard one. It's, Paul, Franciscan monk. He kept forgetting him. And they had a high mass because Catholic, and halfway through it, the congregation was saying, let us pray for our dear brother, Paul. His name is Paul. So, yeah, everybody has brain farts. I mean, some people, like, a previous president, I think either needs a lot of colonics or just one total walking brain fart. Well, a hunched over walking brain fart that looks like a cheetah with a bad toupee. But yes, it hurts your head, doesn't it? So we got to stop blaming cows. I mean, it's not just about cows. 517,387,520 farts in a lifetime. And I've done almost that much the last time I went to Taco Bell. We call it toxic hell, And it's like, That's Venus Pluto. Here's the I want some chili cheese onion rings. Okay, that's gonna make me sick about 11 ways. You know, I'm gonna hate myself. I'll be burping the Star Spangled Banner. I'll be never you mind. And like I said, take the laptop in the bathroom. At least you'll get some work done. Sit on the hamper. Check on Facebook. Although, you know, I think it's really creepy. I've had people call me while sitting on the toilet. Okay? My friend John Como. He's adorable. Oh, Linda, you're the best. You're my best friend. One of my clients since back in the Civil War days. And we're talking, and all of a sudden I hear this flush, gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. The guy was taking a dump while he's talking to me on the phone.
My daughters will do that to me.
Court me, you romantic, you. I come up family from. We run water when we fart, buddy. I don't want to know this about you. Okay,
so I have taken to the revenge flush,
which is
when my daughters do that to me, I will go in the bathroom and just flush the toilet
with your foot, looking the other way with your foot. Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
You know, I don't get calls from my daughters often, but my daughters will call me when they have time to call me. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to complain that they're calling me from the John, but flush the toilet to let them know I got the point.
No. Some things should be private. That's where you do those things, you know. The Brazilian wax, the shave, the plucking your eyebrows. I had a guy go to Wounded Knee with me, so I needed a driver. And we got stuck with this giant suite where he had one bed and I had to roll away and he sat on the bed, peeling off his toenails and throwing them up in the air. And I'm too Virgo. I'm like, you want to get in the hot tub? No. You go ahead. I'll just look the other way. Oh, my God. Yeah. What people do in the presence of other people. No. Once again, living alone is a very good thing. For me. Yes.
I live with a bunch of witches. Toe clippings, hair clippings, all of that stuff gets disposed of properly.
I knew a man named Al Worthy who was so crazy. How crazy was he? That he was like 50 at the time. He'd saved a lifetime of hair and toenail clippings. I can't imagine the smell. He had a trunk he used for a coffee table. And his hair and toenail clippings went in the trunk because he was afraid someone was going to cast a spell on him. Like he's that important and like he could really have it.
Swampy said, sorry I'm late, was out with the cats, smoking things and listening to the Moody Blues.
Oh, sweet. Well, I, as you know, been listening to Superman all day because I can. You get yours. I got mine because I can. And once again, I'm here to tell everybody, just go to supermanhiphop.net or goodmedicineclothing.com or Superman's page on Facebook and get yourself a copy of Medicine Bundle. It's got a beautiful picture of him on the front where he's doing his fancy dance. The man is poetry in motion. It's like he's dancing on air. Amazing.
While you're at it, check out the Good Medicine clothing line.
Mm-hmm. T-shirts and hats. Yeah.
They even have coffee mugs for you heavy coffee drinkers out there.
I have actually a copper mug with a copper cover on it to keep my coffee hot. Is that spoiled or what? Yeah, that's spoiled.
I have a Contigo.
Spoiled.
Okay. I'm spoiled.
And isn't it funny how it's not the big stuff, it's the little creature comforts that make life so wonderful.
That thing,
the little thing.
Coffee, it'll keep my coffee hot for like 5 hours.
Sweet. I guzzle it down too fast for that.
Me too.
If I can get a sip of coffee before I sit down and feed the toast to the cat every morning, I'm a success. That's my litmus test for the day. The simple ritual, especially we're still in Venus Mars cycles, which means, I've been Mars for like a week now. Eventually I'm going to just sit on my butt and become Venus. But then again, it has to do with, the beautification award thing and photo shoot. So my next project I'll tell you about after this. Aren't I? That was called a segue because I'm sneaky I'm sneaky like that. I'd like to take a moment of your time to tell you about our sacred family, the Heart Song of the Native American Rights Fund. These brilliant people belong to all the nations, and they've joined together to affirm and defend the rights of Indigenous people everywhere. This is a noble journey. Since 1970, they have worked to preserve tribal existence, to protect tribal natural resources, to promote Native American human rights, to hold governments accountable for Native Americans for those treaties they signed over a century ago, like 150 years, to develop laws for Indigenous people and educate the public about the goals, the rights, and laws of Native Americans. If you agree with me, it's rather insulting that these amazing individuals even have to fight this battle. This is an organization whom you need to support. Please go to their website, www.narf.org, and see what you can do. Back before watch time, before calendar time, human beings knew how to live in balance on Mother Earth, especially here on Turtle Island. The rivers ran clear and the air was pure. Then the Europeans arrived, and in their footfalls, get ready for this, the native population went from 18 million human beings to 230,000. The earth paid a price as well, because the black snake the Lakota elders had seen in their visions did burrow into the earth and corrupt the waters, and it's now dug under the graves of the elders. It's already leaked. In fact, any pipeline built by Energy Transfer Partners leaks at least once a week. We firmly believe the first Americans should never be considered last. It's time for the U.S. government to live up to the treaties they signed well over a century ago. Please, when you can, go to narf.org and get educated as to what you can do. Language. Once again, proving they're not a slick commercial endeavor. If they were, they wouldn't be called NARF.
If you can contribute. NARF. They have now taken this to the World Court.
Beautiful.
They have gained traction. They have stood before the United Nations on numerous occasions. They are trying to make a difference for everybody, not just Indigenous people.
Beautiful. We're all Indigenous to somewhere.
Yeah.
From somewhere. We're all equal citizens of Mother Earth. So nobody's rights should supersede anybody else's. That's the beauty of peaceful coexistence. Once it's in place, everything else is just kind of takes care of itself, doesn't it?
Coexistence or co-extinction.
Exactly. As Superman says, preserve existence or expect resistance. And that's exactly what you get. So Venus and Virgo, it's time for little projects. Never Venus, Mars, you can't really do the big ones. They'll catch up with you. You'll hate yourself. You'll fall asleep with your clothes on. You'll be late for work the next day. So just save yourself. Story of a man that was went to a bar. Guys do that. Lunchtime from work. And had chili and a hamburger and something. And as will happen, got quite flatulent. Well, fortunately for him, he was listening to his iTunes at the time, but he didn't quite realize that he was still in public. And so he released the gas. Because, instead of your butt falls off. My dad, every funeral, my dad used to say, not aloud, but in his mind, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. If you don't fart, your belly will bust. So he got to that. If I don't fart, my belly will bust. And so he let go, and then let go, and then until he was feeling better. And that's when he realized nobody could hear the music but him. Another quote: People who dance are thought to be crazy by people who can't hear the music. Yeah. People who dance are thought to be crazy by people who can't hear the music. There's every moment of life has a rhythm to it. I'm a drummer. I drum them. I live them. I pick the rhythm I need for the day so it will sustain me. So that it's not like a sugar buzz. It's a sustainable energy. That reminds me, speaking of energy, if you have questions, I have my cards with me. Spirit has something. If you have questions, feel free. Hop in the chat room. Ask your question.
Yeah.
I'll give you an answer. Yeah. As we can.
Yeah. Speaking to brain farts. And the ADHD thing.
Yes, the ADHD thing.
Okay.
I'm ADD. I'm actually, okay, here's me. This will tell you how special I am. I'm not only ADD, I'm OCD, which means I'm odd DD. Okay. I will check the kitchen door 50 times, make sure I locked it. And then I'll unlock it to make sure it's locked. Then I'll lock it and go back to bed and go, did I lock it? Did I let the cat out? Did I unplug the teapot? Oh, my God.
Way back when, it became evident that to teach a certain segment of the population to keep them engaged, they would actually have to have more teachers per student than they could afford to pay.
True.
So they developed this thing called ADHD so that we could label those children that required more teaching, more involvement, more engagement, less than what they were.
And the factor that they were not aware of or blindly ignored or just too stupid to embrace is the fact that being ADD is a form of genius. I mean, here I am. I'm doing homework on farts, okay? Because I don't want to speak out the wrong
hole.
Yeah. I was going to say orifice. I don't want to be the oracle of my orifice. Thank you, no. Although a good fart joke get me laughing for a while. But it's Mercury, Neptune aspects. It's going to be square. It's going to be mutual reception. It's going to be conjunct. It's going to be right there in your chart. It can be transiting Mercury on your Neptune, transiting Neptune on your Mercury, whatever. It definitely is a cycle where your attention span is worse than that of a 2-year-old.
Well, if you had learned to dual focus, not to monopolize your brain time with one focus, but to focus on multiple tasks at one time, you would find that your genius actually displays itself kindly.
Yes.
They had me tested at such an early age because I showed out. I got a 0 for the year on homework because I didn't turn the homework in.
You dog ate it. The dog ate it.
No, I turned it in on the first day of school.
Oh, okay.
All 246 episodes of homework for the year in that math class I turned in on the first day of school.
Nice.
While she was trying to teach the class, she kindly threw it all in the circular file.
Nice.
And I was belligerent. I wasn't going to repeat what I'd already done.
You were like 14, 12?
12.
Okay.
I tested at 187, which Mensa immediately contacted my parents.
See, now I tested at 186, which meant I was supposed to be an honor student. And continually, the old lady was telling me, you're not living up to your potential. I don't know it yet. I have no idea. Could be phone sex, could be radio, could be a faith healer. I don't know. I have to get there from here to there.
5 things at one time.
Well, and see, luckily, half my chart's in Gemini, so I'm always multitasking.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get up, take something in the kitchen, and I'll grab 2 other things in the kitchen, and I'll clean that and put it away, so I don't have to come back to it. So that's my Mercury and a little dash of Virgo. I always say never too rich, never too thin, never too much Virgo. There's never too much Virgo because Virgos make things better. Virgos will make systems work better. Virgos will pull talents out of people they didn't know they had.
Mm-hmm.
Virgos will challenge the standards and say, there's got to be a better way to do it. And that's reinforced by Saturn in Aquarius right now, which is put your thinker to it. And Uranus in Taurus and says, just because we've done something the same way for ever so long, that doesn't make it right. In fact, it's more wrong than it could be, than it needs to be, than it is.
Well, there's a lot of things that go on that get overlooked and have been overlooked for a couple of decades now.
Okay.
Because standards change.
Absolutely.
In the 60s, standards on children's education were a whole lot more stringent.
Yep.
The education they were presented with had valuation. The teachers that presented the education had valuation.
Mm-hmm.
You get to the mid 80s, standardized testing had devalued the education that was presented.
True.
The teachers that were there to teach the standardized test material had been devalued because they no longer had authority anywhere.
Gotcha.
So and
the kids of that generation, everyone subsequent to it, were the kids that got an award for showing up.
Yeah.
Here's your ribbon, here's your plaque, here's your trophy. What? Yeah.
You no longer had to earn reward.
No. It was just there.
Reward was a given.
Mm-hmm.
We need to change the way we do things. We need to change the way we think about things. Reward is not a given. Reward is a reward.
Earned. It's earned.
Yeah, it's earned. It has to be earned. Teaching the old ways, teaching people how to survive with what they can create,
mm-hmm.
has taught me a lot about that. They no longer even, I was taught how to cook in school.
Mm-hmm.
I was taught how to sew in school.
Oh, Mac, yeah.
I was also taught how to do complex math in my head in school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I was challenged with physics in school without calculators.
Mm.
Okay. Kids today, if you presented them with the course curriculum that you and I had, would sit and look at you.
They'd laugh.
Blankly.
They'd laugh. But we had political science, and we got to discuss what was really going on.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is happening anymore.
No. Everything's been whitewashed.
Mm-hmm.
There's this big cry about critical race theory, and a lot of people don't understand it. We have been taught badly for generations. It's time to set the record straight.
Indeed.
It's time to call the spades the spades. If you understand the colloquialism, the elephant in the room has spoken, and we need to listen.
Yeah.
We have a female person of color as our vice president. It's time to face our past.
And Native Americans with voices.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's time to face our past and make corrections. It's time to
make amends,
not forget.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And a lot of people don't understand that. And I've had that conversation with several people over the last couple of days. I have
that was colorful.
I have forgiven all of the transgressions against me, but I will never forget them.
No, because you've already been warned what that person can do.
Yeah.
My friend Suzanne, her friend wanted to open a bookstore, metaphysical bookstore, and she loaned her something like $350,000. And the idea being that, when the proceeds come rolling on in, I'll give you this payment every month, blah, blah, blah. Well, the woman never paid anything. And then she went out of business and ended up, I don't know if she left the books or gave them away or put them on eBay. I don't know. They were gone. And Suzanne drives up to, be helpful, and the place is closed, out of business. And she called the woman to whom she'd given this money because they were friends and lodge members. And the woman said, "That's what you get when you trust someone like me." What? Let me at her. Her kidney's worth 10 grand. I'll let her keep one. Maybe gallbladder or spleen. Something she's not using. Or brain, something she's not using. That's what you get for trust someone.
Sweetie said, "Yay, went through the rest of the clothes. They're upstairs packing while I'm running the show."
Well, you know how to pack light. You know how to pack heavy. You know how to... when I move, there's always a box that has the coffee press in it that says load last, unload first.
We're trying to be space efficient, so we're packing everything that we can into a storage facility.
Sure.
Because, our goal is to be on the road by mid-September to do the fall-winter circuit.
And your lease is up on the new moon.
Yeah, our lease is up in 2 weeks.
New moon's a good time to make a move because
look, we would have stayed, but they won't renew the lease.
Oh well.
So we're gonna do what we wanted to do.
But you're overpaying. It's not a mansion.
No, it's not a mansion, and
for that kind of money,
what we're paying. Look, we're still going to be making the same kind of money. If we can figure out a way to make a down payment on this next adventure. Mm-hmm. We're golden because we're still going to be bringing in way more money than we need to pay for this next adventure. Mm-hmm. And what we're looking at, guys, is an RV, a modest RV.
Nice.
It's about a decade old.
That's not bad.
It's just been revamped. They've gone through all the mechanical systems, the refrigeration, and everything. And
excellent.
It's a minimal down payment and payments that we can reasonably make off of what I bring in. Mm-hmm. And you know how little I bring in. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's going to change because you're going to kick the VA till it does.
Oh yeah, and I've got 3 chapters where. Come on, we got to get this book written. I need to be put in contact with our ghostwriter so I can get this on paper.
I came up with the title for our book.
Yeah. And
Life Journey.
Up with 3 chapters.
Life Journeys. I got chapters. I could sit down and write them right now, but I had to have a title first. So it's Life Journeys from Life to Death to Life. Or Life Dance from Life to Death to Life. Choices.
Yeah.
Passages from life to death to life. See,
I like that one.
Passages? Fine. We locked that in. Available on Amazon.
From life to death to life.
Yeah. Haven't been there.
Seeing is the first chapter that I've put down is cycles.
Beautiful.
Because as you know, my life has. I have unbroken memory, so it's a thing of cycles. Mm-hmm. And I remember the cycles.
And beginnings are endings, and endings are beginnings. So the dance goes on.
Yeah. And
partners may change.
Seeing the cycles repeat inside of a single lifetime is crazy. And 9 times now I've seen this cycle repeat itself. Mm-hmm. And it's been different each time. But yeah, I'm ready to get this on paper.
Sweet. We got a title. I'm happy.
We got a title.
Got a bibliography. I got a stack of books. Although it's mostly going to be based on the teachings of Dr. Kubler-Ross and Dion Fortune. Dion Fortune wrote a beautiful book called Beyond the Gates of Death. And she talks about hell. As you know, there isn't any. So if you've been paying the priest,
we created ourselves.
That's right. Paying the priest and paying the parish and paying your pew rent to get Granny out of purgatory. Granny went to heaven. That's your choice. You go to heaven or you go to heaven. I firmly believe in grace, even for the worst of us. I believe in grace.
I'm going to break this down from the native standpoint. Okay.
Okay.
When you pass, when you leave this mortal coil, okay, you've left all but the mortal coil intact. Mm-hmm. Okay. That energy, that body of you that is more than the physical body will ever be, goes from this point to a place of rest, a place of recuperation, a place of learning,
healing,
and healing, where we sit with the Creator in our time. Okay, and that's different than everything happens in the Creator's time. Okay,
true.
Because for this moment, it's our time.
True.
So we sit with the Creator in our time, and we discuss the things that happened in the previous walk. Okay, and then we discuss the things that were left undone, the unfinished task,
unfinished business.
And then we discuss the ways to address that in the next walk.
Absolutely.
And then you go and spend some more time by yourself, and you formulate a game plan. with all of these key points, all of these bullet points that you and the creator have sat down and talked about. And once you've got that plan, that formula laid out, you sit down with the creator in the creator's time. So the creator can address your game plan from an outside perspective.
True. From a respectful distance.
Yes.
And that's how we should make all of our important decisions. You got to take yourself out of the mess, the hot, sticky, karmic mess. Look at it from a distance and say, what's really going on here? What have I learned? And how can I best let go and honor the other person involved? Because you want to respect them.
Yeah.
Even the Karens. Oh, I love it. We just got thunder. That's like super confirmation.
Yeah, my brother was speaking. Stephen said, but I want to go to the happy hunting ground and get my stag on. Listen, I'm not saying that there's not a happy hunting ground. I'm not saying that there's not Valhalla for the nobly dead.
Or Mayday.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is you sit down with the creator in your time. So if you need time to get your stag on, to be free of this existence for a little bit,
unencumbered. Unencumbered. For me, the last 2 times, it was just peace. And when I came back both times, I was less involved with physical stuff. It was like, it's here, but it's stuff. And
it's
stuff does not.
You're not trapped by it.
It doesn't define me. It doesn't empower me.
We were having a discussion about Zen spaces, the Zen space up here.
Mm-hmm.
And in the discussion, it was mentioned that some people's Zen spaces revolve around other people.
Mm-hmm.
If your Zen space is revolving around somebody else, you're
not real.
Finding a Zen space.
That's about giving your power away.
Yeah. Your Zen space should be about you, should be about what brings you peace, what brings you joy. So they asked me, well, what's your Zen space like? And I said, well, my Zen space is a trout stream where I don't have to work for the fish.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, keep it going for a minute. It's raining in the windows. I'll be right back. 40 days, 40 nights. Wait till the sewer's back up.
Right. With my Zen space doing that trout stream.
Well, shit. Oh, my.
When I have to retreat into my Zen space, I find myself.
Geez. Oh, yeah.
Kitty cats are uproarious about incoming rain. Yeah, I can hear them. But retreating to my Zen space leaves me in a space where I'm unaffected. If you wrap your Zen space around some other person, some other entity, even the creator, you're asking for intrusion in Zen. And you won't find that inner peace, which is necessary to move to forward momentum. And we're back.
What happened to keep it going?
I was keeping it going.
Well, it looks like the bum cat is in for the night, which means I'm on the couch because he hogs the bed. It's a thing he does. Consider this.
Said his Zen space is a comfy couch and all of his cats on top of him.
No, he's got magical cats. Consider this. In the beginning time was darkness, no light, just the hush of the universe waiting to be born. Sun Father came first, torn from the flesh of infinity, hard and merciless. He created possibility, the first universal truth. He made it with Grandmother Moon, and when he had time, because he's busy. Their children were Earth and all the other planets, even the Milky Way, which is the sky ladder to the great beyond. Sun Father and Grandmother Moon brought harmony, the second universal truth. They became inseparable, bound by destiny, even though one was always chasing the other across the sky. There's a film called Lady Hawk that talks just about that. After a time, there was a birth of animals. They were the same as people. No difference, except some had 2 legs, some had 4 wings or fins. The animals discovered imagination, their third universal truth. Their stories comforted and protected all who heard them, even wind and rain and fire. Now, the principal animals were the elk people and the bear people. Go, bear medicine. The coyote people, that's me, and the rabbit people, one for each of the 4 sacred directions. The raven people guarded the world above, and the badger people guarded the world below. All these people came together and created warmth, the 4th universal truth. Their fire made it all possible. After that, the people divided into clans and spread out. Their different worlds expanded, each with possibility and harmony, imagination, and warmth. When they grew hungry, food was provided, grass or insects or meat, as much as they needed to survive. Hunger became the 5th universal truth. Oceans were made, also mountains, rivers, and deserts. Trees were made, also stones and flowers, even dry dust. In this way, things began to be noticed. The people discovered beauty, the 6th universal truth. They made gifts of beauty to one another and created happiness, the 7th universal truth. The circle of life was almost complete. Then came strangers and horses from the south. It was a time of gunpowder and destruction, of trying to protect themselves from fear, the 8th universal truth. Many people died. They lost their homes and food and children, but the strong survived. And when the people got together again, they discovered hope, and they decided that was the greatest truth of all. Without hope, there is no tomorrow. There's no point in tomorrow without hope. It's an empty and sad place to be, don't you think? Imagine, there was a time before watch time, before calendar time, when people lived in harmony with Mother Earth. Imagine. They had the sense to eat foods when they were in season, not the ones we buy at Whole Foods that are shot full of I don't want to know what kind of hormones. And there was a larger sense about everything's all interconnected, and that when you live in harmony, and this is timeless, when you live in a place of harmony, you will draw to you only people who are equally harmonious. Mm-hmm. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. I mean, that last place we were, there are a lot of really angry people. And I don't really think there'd be any point in sharing with them that they were calling in their own negativity, because they were just there, you know? You tried to improve it. They didn't want to do that. What's wrong with you, Spirit? You got to be crazy. We'd rather sit here and make no effort and complain about it. Yeah. So getting away from those people, especially with the politics between shows and that one producer and the hosts. If you talk to her, you can't be my friend. If you talk to him, you can't be my friend. That ended for me in kindergarten. And I thought, well, I don't really have anything to say to any of you. I'm fine with it. Go away. Peace out. One of my favorite phrases. Peace out.
If you have a problem with my actions, come to me. Don't try
to
cancel me. You try to cancel me, I'll cancel you.
You take it behind my back and you are going to meet Medusa. And you'd be surprised how quickly I can flip. And Medusa takes no prisoners.
I don't either.
And there's a Diane aspect to it as well, because it starts with, let's talk this out. And if not, just dial 911. I'll let you know when to do the last one, because you're going to hurt.
I have a
Deservedly so.
I have a much darker aspect than Medusa.
Well, I don't know. Turning people into
I'm a walking medicine man. I honestly, I walk the gray for a reason. I needed a little light in my life.
From time to time. Don't OD on it.
A lot of people don't understand that about me. I've gotten where I've gotten because I have taken the prisoners.
Well, and unless they cross you, they're never going to know.
Right.
You know, it's got to be an offense against God or human nature, you know? And in that case, I'll cut you to ribbons. And I got my Jupiter in Scorpio. I've always had this mouth, which is why even when I was a little kid sitting there in Sunday school where they're trying to tell me I was sinful and this and that and the other, I just wanted to say, you are so full of poo. It's not funny.
There was a little 12-year stint in my career path that taught me some really nasty tricks for dealing with people that want to stab me in the back. And people really find out quickly they don't do well stabbing me in the back.
All I do is put my mirrors up, and their evil finds them. I like that. No sticky karma. Don't have to go there again. That's why, like I've said a couple times,
I don't know what to do. My book's not selling. I already spent my advance.
Write a better book. Write 2. Look at William Maltese. He's in print 275 times now. And he draws from his life experience and creates these wonderful word pictures. Brilliant.
And I still bombard her every day with the morning missive. She's yet to block me.
There was a time when I felt bad about doing it. And now it's like, looky here, the trash just took itself out. And I pages of people I blocked, which is fine. Behold, said Grandmother Moon to Grandfather Sky, is a great crystal bowl filled with water in her hands. This is the home of my beloveds. Some will swim, some will fly, some will crawl, some will burrow into Mother Earth. Some will have wings or fins, and there'll be 4-leggeds and 2-leggeds. Of them all, the 2-leggeds are my favorites. I know I shouldn't say that. But in their celebrations of life, they will chant, sing, dance, and drum. It is the rhythm of that heart song that will keep them ever connected to the great Creator's Spirit, the source of everything that is, all that was, and all that evermore shall be. We are Mother Peace Drum, Spirit, me, a whole bunch of people. We invite you to join us in our prayer for peace in physical or in the light. I drum every day, so it's not a big whoop-de-doo. However, thanks to my friend Leslie Sheedy Lintz, we have a Wednesday night Mesa link up. It's from 9:45 till 10 o'clock. So bring your medicine bundle, say a prayer, light a candle, burn some smudge, whatever. Meditate, if you will. As I said, I'll be drumming, and 15 minutes is not a warm-up for me. So I'll drum from 9:30 to 10:30. That's every Wednesday night. It is free. It is the undiluted power of prayer. You can't beat that with a stick. You can't.
And find us on Facebook in the Global Drumming Community Circle.
August 8th
at 11:11. We're drumming globally for the water.
Yeah, we are.
For the mother we walk on, and for the grandmothers that walked before us.
Mm-hmm. And our sisters who are disappearing.
Yeah.
I learned the first time I went to Wounded Knee, I was on Pine Ridge, and I walked in to the radio station because I had a tithe for them, and there was this bulletin board, and all these beautiful Native American women's faces and when they disappeared. And I stood there and I talked to each one of them, and I said a prayer. And as I stepped inside, Melanie said, "They're all dead and gone, aren't they?" And I said, "Yeah, but they're in a better place." Sad they left too soon, but who's to say what too soon is? Isn't that up to God? So if we wrote this script, that was part of the script. So the babies in the horrible schools, the women who disappear, the people who lost their medicine, this is where we need to put our prayers.
Yeah.
Directly. The sacred hoop is pretty much mended, but it's still got some, needs some work. And like you said, we're all mutts. If your family's been here over 3 generations, you are some part native.
Yeah. Just
cause. You may think you're Lithuanian, but you're part native. And if you read The Sacred Tree by Julie Bopp, can't forget that name, Julie Hale Bopp, she talks about how everything is interconnected and we're all interconnected, and that our differences are just a point of reference. That's all they are. We are one in the sacred hoop.
Yes, we are.
Always have been, always will be. And that's why when you read the directions information, when you read the basic tenets of the medicine wheel, give your best to company. When you bring an idea to the council, you've given it away. If they use it, fine. If they don't, fine. All you needed to do was bring it to them. When you read the tenets and they resonate within your heart, you got some kind of native blood. So you might as well surrender, Dorothy. Because that's your heart song. And who wants to lose their heart song? It happens. It's sad. It happens. But it's always a choice thing. It's always.
And I think we need a recorded clip of you playing the mother's heartbeat.
Well, I got 3 of them and only 2 hands. That's a problem, eh?
Right. I think if we can get a recorded clip of you playing the Mother's Heartbeat to open the show with, something to play behind me doing the read in.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe if we expose people viscerally to the Mother's Heartbeat, well, like you did to me, like I did to Sings, like I've done to so many countless others since, it changes something.
Mm-hmm.
Finding that tune, finding yourself in tune with that tune.
It's alignment.
Yeah. Finding that alignment with the Mother's Heartbeat awakens something inside that can't be quenched.
Your grandmother's. The first heartbeat you heard was your grandmother's when you were in your mother.
Yeah.
So it's from the beginning time to forever time. Although I'm a trance drummer, so, you'll have to hit the stop button eventually, because I'll be singing, I'll be dancing. That night you had me pray for your friends in Windsor, somewhere in Canada, I think it was Windsor. And you said, okay, now you got to do 42 beats a minute or something. And I thought, oh, Jeebus. So I went and I got my Mickey Mouse clock, the one I have in the studio right now. It's hard to see the second hand because his gloves get away, but I loves me my Mickey. So I am in there, boom, and I discovered it's so beautifully created that you can hit a note, breathe, hit the next note, and the drum was still vibrating to the first one.
Yeah.
To be like, boom, and then boom with an echo behind it. A little.
When you play the Mother's Heartbeat, the echo encompasses all.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was my arrhythmia to begin with, but no. That'd be boom, 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 nothing, boom. Yeah, that'd be me.
But yeah, people finding that alignment, that attunement changes their lives. It changes them into their potential.
It's synchronistic because it opens you to beautiful things happening spontaneously. You don't have to plan for it. You don't have to pray for it. You just have to open your heart to it and let it happen. And it does.
Allow.
Yes. What are you living in service of? I know that's poor grammar, but it makes the point.
Humanity.
Humanity, peaceful coexistence, human rights, understanding, acceptance, appreciation for each other.
I think humanity encompasses all of that.
Keeping the kindness in humankind.
Yeah.
Human beings are inherently good. They've done studies where they've had people lined up to be actually physically hurt, and total strangers would save their bacon. Human beings are inherently good. I make sure every day, because, Facebook for me is like, I don't know, somewhere between addiction and discipline.
It's your Adderall.
Yeah, that's my Adderall, all right. So I like to post funny, stupid things, because stupid things are funny. And then I have the great big fireman saving a kitten. Some man, yesterday, I loves me some gators. Had a pet gator when I lived in New Orleans. His name was Skeeter, and he was the size of a little stuffed animal. Just a little stuffed animal. And he was scared of people walking by, and he had a soft little belly, and we cuddled, and I loved him. And Captain Stumpy said, don't be putting him in your pocket. Don't be taking him home in your carry-on, because eventually he going to eat you. He going to bite you. He going to eat you. He won't appreciate it. Oh, that's unfortunate. But gators, so there's this guy on Facebook, and he's somewhere like the Everglades, although I went searching for gators, and they were all at Busch Gardens when I went down there. That's all I can say. Turkey vultures everywhere. My bird. No gators. But he was saving a gator that was stuck in a net. And I mean, this thing could have taken his face off. He got in the water with it, took his little snippers, and cut off the net. And the darn thing wanted to be petted.
Yeah.
So now he's petting it, and then he got back. And compassion isn't just human. Dogs will take in kittens. Cats will take in puppies.
If you don't approach the animal like you're scared of it or you're going to eat it, the animal's not going to approach you like it's scared of you, or it's going to eat you either.
Well, now here's my bucket list. You'll appreciate this. I had a Seminole teacher who could flip gators and rub their bellies and they'd go to sleep. That's it. Flip a gator. I'd probably need help with that. Sit on it, rub its belly. That's all I ever want to do. I want to rub a gator's belly. Sing a lullaby. Watch them go to sleep because it's necessary. And you know what they're doing now in the Everglades? They're paying white folks. They're paying stupid white folks. Here, go play with that gator. Put your hat on it. Feed it a football. You know? Oh, yeah. This is going to end badly.
Sings and I have slept with alligators within 25 feet. We've slept with crocodiles within 30 feet. Crocodiles are actually more aggressive, I think.
Smaller bite.
We slept with panthers in camp.
Nice.
They didn't molest our camp. They didn't accost us.
They didn't eat you.
Oh, no. When they felt me stirring, they quietly stood up and left camp, moved off about 30 yards and laid down again.
Beautiful.
We're not scared of them. We're not leery of them. We respect them.
Sure.
The animals in nature deserve our respect. They deserve our understanding. We encroach on their habitat. We encroach on their livelihood, their space.
We pollute their home.
Yeah.
Pollute.
So it's understandable why they're aggressive with us. But I learned through experience, through time, even as a kid, handling the snakes.
No.
Hallelujah. If you approach things with innocence, with honesty and earnestness, things are going to happen differently than
with an open heart. You just go into it with an open heart. That this is a real great life experience. I wish you no harm. That's what I said when I upset the mama rattler in the Smoky Mountains. I said, "This is your home. I'm passing through." That's after we both screamed, "Ah!" And I went run off, and I, thank you for sharing your home with me, your sacred space. Peace out. Yeah.
I've been handling snakes without thought, without
no,
since I was 7 years old.
Gummy worms, maybe. Snakes, no. In Montana, the kids are very proud of chasing snakes and chopping off the rattles. It's like, no.
I respect them more than that.
And the snake wasn't bothering you.
Yeah. I have been bitten. I've never been harmed.
Mm-hmm.
And by that, I mean the snake that bit me didn't inject.
Mm-hmm.
It bit me and went on. It said, "Hey, you stepped on my tail, asshole."
It's like when a cat hisses at you. If they're going to bite you, they just bite you. If they're hissing, they're saying, back off.
I've had more damage from cats and dogs than I have from wild animals.
Oh, I actually know a woman that got cat scratch fever. I thought it was just a Ted Nugent song, and I got to her hand turned into like a football mitt kind of thing, or a baseball mitt. And I'm such a jock, baseball mitt. And all the way to the hospital, all the way back, I'm saying, cat scratch fever. Not funny. I said, well, I'm enjoying it. Then I had a neighbor swallow a pickle fork.
I was doing an alarm installation and got attacked by a very angry house cat in the attic of the house.
Oh.
And ended up contracting cat scratch fever.
Na. See, you can't. You have to sing it. Cat scratch fever. Na.
But yeah, it bit all the way through my hand.
Fever. I thought that was just a spoof thing, but no.
Because the owner would say, "Come here and put out some food for the cat," so it would come.
Typical.
He decided to climb into the attic with the cat and a broom.
See, now my cats are like vampires
because his karma for climbing into the attic with a broom and a angry cat was to fall through the roof of his bedroom.
Okay. Was a time I had this cat. He was fixed, okay? But he had the good sense to know that my future ex-husband was a turd, a steaming turd. And so one night he came to bed, and the prince used to sleep bare naked. Oh, the visual. And cat came to bed. I'm cuddling with the cat. Life is good. I said, good night, kitty, kitty. Cat got up on my pillow and sprayed my future ex-husband in the face. Now, he hurled expletives, your mother, blah, 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 blah. And then he's trying to catch a cat. The cat is under a king-size bed. You can't reach a cat under a king-size bed unless you're Stretch Armstrong. He could finally chase the cat out of the room, ended up running around the basement, and I had the giggles. I'm stripping the bed. I'm rolling up. I'm going to go down the basement and do some laundry because, cat piss. And I couldn't stop laughing. And I changed the bed. We got back in bed. And every time he'd move, I'd start laughing again. And it was like, I was crying. I was laughing. It was wonderful. It was a great moment. Should have listened to the cat. Could have saved myself 20 years. But no. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. I shoulded on myself again. One should never should on oneself. Now, was that Bong? Was that some other chat room?
Talking to Heather Powers.
Good. Yeah, we'll chart that out later. I'll talk to you. We'll figure it out.
She messaged and said, "What's going on tonight?" I said, "We're doing the thing."
Mental flatulence, brain farts. Maybe it's something you didn't want to do. Perhaps it's something you thought you had done. Perhaps it was something you never wanted to do. Forgetting that invitation for the barbecue you didn't want to go to begin with. Or more than likely, too many plates on too many broomsticks. There's multitasking and there's gosh darn stupid. Gosh darn stupid is why I'm often, because as you know, I'm not allowed power tools. Ever since my son-in-law came here, found me on a folding chair with my chainsaw, said naughty words and left. Although I bought a Sawzall, so take that, Jimbo. I'm not good with power tools. I'm the one who tried to reset the fuel oil furnace and blew it up. Of course, I got a new furnace out of the deal. So I now have a paint gun thing. But I've been told the trick with the paint gun thing is clean it thoroughly. Because if it clogs up, you're out of paint gun, right? And the other box, which I've yet to open, but it's taunting me, is a power washer. Now, I've ridden floor bumpers in a circle. I don't know what's going to happen with a power washer. Wish me luck. But I got to get this green stuff off the house because it's yucky. Always wanted an ivy-covered house, and now I have one. It's like, this stuff's dirty and messy. Ew.
There's a lot of debate on letting that actually occur. For years, I heard that it added insulation to the house, and then my stepdad had to pay like $30,000 to have house repairs done because we had an ivy-covered wall.
Which is mossy and wet and rot stuff.
Yeah, it rotted out all of the wooden structure in the wall. They had to do some major repairs.
They had to gut it. That's what my daughter did. It took her 3 years. I commend her for doing it. I would never. Conversely, she's got her dream house and her dream kitchen. Every woman wants that. Some guys too. So I'm happy for them. And then they're in a beautiful spot in God's land on 7 acres. She got 7 acres, a house, a barn, and I think 3 outbuildings. And they have 4 natural springs on the land, so that's where the city gets their water, $40,000. That's cheaper than a Jeep. Isn't that sad? A stripped down, not special Jeep is $38,000. Shoot me first. That's why I'm glad you're buying your motor van camper thing used, because the first 3 years it depreciates the most. So I bought one new car once in my life because I think everybody should have one new car. And after that, no. 2-3 years old. Biggest depreciation. Unlike our friend with the 12-year-old computer.
You know, I have a 12-year-old laptop. It doesn't do anything anymore. It stores music.
I have one that's a doorstop. It's there to keep cats out of the basement. Other than that, I don't have a lot of use for it.
It stores all those Napster files.
That's going back a ways.
Yeah.
Going back a ways.
I went through a period where you know, I was told, don't ever buy another computer, don't ever operate another computer, blah 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 blah. And then
because
something I did between the years of 1997 and 2000.
Okay.
I was under government contract, so
I see. Yes, well.
But then they came back a couple of years later and said, you know, we were a little bit overzealous in what you can't do anymore. So will you please go buy a computer and be a consumer again?
Yep. Voracious consumerism. That's just it. Having been on the other side a couple times, well, twice
really
this year.
I don't like it when you disconnect.
I know. It's stuff is so unimportant. I mean, it's nice, you know. I have 2 computers I have access to, and one is the huge one with the big tower that I now have a fan blowing at because it gets hot flashes. AT&T didn't know that. I'm not telling them. Okay, I'll just let them send new ones out to people and new ones out to people, and then they'll go on Google and go, oh, it's a brain fart. She's having a hot flash. Give her a chance. Fine, it's all good. And I thought I wasn't good at patience lessons. See, it also determines how important it is to me. If something's really vastly important, it's like the book. I had to have a title. I had to give it a name. I don't even do the numbers on the name because I can. But it had to have a title. Because until it had a title, it wasn't my baby. Now it's our baby.
It's titled now. We got to get it right.
Yes, indeed. I got a bibliography because I've been reading books nonstop since February. So there's that.
So it's closing on that time where we like to tell everybody where we can reach everybody and give our closing spots.
You can find me any place that has a cream puff hot fudge sundae with lots of whipped cream. If that doesn't work, you can find me at the astralbaglady.net, where you can read this week's astrological forecast about 25 minutes from now, because my web goddess will be here and she'll hit buttons and make it happen. I had her write down the order of things to post to my website. It was 2 pages. 23 steps. No. No. But my daughter's a genius. She wants to write code. No. So maybe she'll make an astrological program that makes sense. Instead of this one. This one has good information, but you can't read it because the font's too small. Never mind. And for you, my dear?
For me, you can find us at spiritwalksfarcreations.com, foroflightkind.com, or of course on Facebook or Instagram at Spirit Walks Far Creations and For of Like Kind. Right now, I'd like to bring everybody's attention to our survival sale. Please make a purchase if you feel so inclined.
It's really a movie sale.
I could run a trailer.
Yeah. Well, change is such a good thing.
We're progressing. Thing. We're moving forward.
Well, we got Mercury and Sun in Cancer, and that's about finding your seat at the table. So you got your seat at the table. Now you just need a house to put the table in. Doable.
Yep. We have plans to be on the road for a year and start construction next spring.
Beautiful.
In the meantime, we're going to survive and grow.
You can do more than survive.
Everybody loves us for doing.
You're going to thrive is what you're going to do. Surviving is just you have a pulse after Granny died. I made a big point. I worked with a Phoenix group, and they were the Widows and Orphans of Slain Policemen, and they called themselves a survivors group. And I said, you know what that means? It means that they misspell your name in an obituary somewhere in the paper, and you had a pulse maybe 5 minutes longer than the person who died, or maybe 50 years, but it's surviving is not thriving. You want to thrive. And so now they're the Phoenix group that come up from the ashes. And we all have to do that. Life is a firewalk. Whether you accept it or not, there are going to be challenges that come along the way. And the sooner you face them, the sooner they're gone. Does that sound too Catholic? I guess it does. Never mind.
It's how we deal with our catastrophe, our challenge that defines us.
Exactly.
And I choose to be defined as one that moves forward.
And the kanji for crisis is the same as the kanji for opportunity.
Yep.
So when you find yourself in crisis mode, here's an opportunity to think differently, to be malleable, to open yourself to options, and then manifest it. This is a great manifesting time, boys and girls. We're talking Jupiter, Neptune retrograde in Pisces. So Neptune's backing in on Jupiter, which is about spirituality. This is where you get rewarded by your belief systems. Believe in synchronicity and let it happen. Manifest things, because you're only going to manifest something is for your own highest good and for the greater good. Basic medicine wheel 101. When we feed the greater good, we never go hungry. Easy peasy.
Well, it's like the two wolves.
Yes.
Okay. If you feed one more than you feed the other, you still end up out of round.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find a balance in the feeding.
Out of round. These people on that website for the big drum thing are hanging their drums on the wall. Talk about out of round. Drums are not furniture.
No,
drums are not meant to be hanging
on the wall, but
Shame
my drum is properly on the wall.
Okay, but they shouldn't be on the wall.
My drum is in a cradle, and the cradle is on the wall.
But when the drum's on the wall, you're less inclined to play it.
Well, it's beside the door.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But
So,
even
I
so,
touch it every time I leave the room.
you see these people with all kinds of drums, lots of African drums, and you see drums nailed to the wall. It's like, you don't do that to a drum. It's going to go out of voice. It's going to go out of round. Yeah.
You have to suspend if you're going to hang the drum, you have to hang the drum in a cradle that supports the whole round, not points on the round.
My drums
points on the round will take it out of round.
My drums weigh 50 pounds, so I'd need a stud finder.
Yep.
And a lot of duct tape. Yeah. Duct tape, it's wonderful. What can't you do with duct tape?
75-pound anchors. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But your drums have stands
mm-hmm.
that they rest in that support the total round.
Exactly.
So they're not in danger of becoming out of round, losing their tune, losing their sound.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people store their drums hanging improperly, and they go to drum and it's flat. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have a beautiful voice anymore.
Or they sit things on them. I once saw a man write a bill of sale on top of a drum, and I said, give him his money back. Why? I said, because you just hurt that. I did not. You just hurt that hide. And eventually, your stupid signature is going to be the weak spot that his fist goes through.
Yeah.
Give him his money back. Maruga showed up with a drum that had food, coffee rings, I think Fritos, maybe Cheetos. And I gave him such hell.
Yeah, he's a professional drummer for like.
Where did you leave your sacred? You might as well blow your nose on it. Just as useful. Guess I better clean it. Yeah, you better. It's not me you answer to.
Yeah. Well, everybody.
Them. That's it then, huh? It goes by so quickly.
Many blessings.
Yes.
Come back and see us in 168 hours.
You got it. And have yourself a great weekend, especially knowing that we all need a moon lodge because the full moon is on the rise. Everybody howl now. Peace out.
Peace and blessings.
Amen.